what is the word? It is legitimate. As I said, you are what you are today because you are a Nigerian. I am what I am today because I'm a Nigerian. So why should they be Nigerian and be languishing in poverty? Why? And then they make demand for that. And we are not listening to them. They make demand for that. And we are treating it with levity. We are sitting on the keg of gunpowder. They are frustrated, they are desperate, they are angry, they are hungry, they are unemployed, they are in abject poverty. What do we expect? Those boys and girls that have tried to go over the Sahara and go over the Mediterranean, they had 3 hurdles to cross. The Sahara, the ill treatment in the Mediterranean country on this side, whether it's Algeria or Libya or wherever, they go through hell. Then the Mediterranean. Then when they landed on the other side, some of them came here. I listened to them and I was weeping. Now why should they go through that? Because what you and I have not given them the attention that they deserve.
Mr. Matthew, quickly, what's your reaction to Obasanjo's, statement yesterday saying that Nigeria is sitting on a gunpowder, considering the fact that Obasanjo happens to be the only leader who has had over 1 decade to rule the country and never effected all these things that he's preaching today? What's your reaction? Is it hypocrisy or the truth?
I think Obasanjo is partially correct. The reason I would say is partially correct is Obasanjo, as the president of this country, we saw some positive impact he created. Let me dwell on the issue of our debt. We understand that currently the major bane of our problem is our debt. To the extent that this government told us that before they came on board, we were spending 95% of our national earnings to service debt. And we are not even talking about paying the capital to service debt. According to them, based on their approach and intervention and policies, it have reduced to about 68%. I'm talking about our earnings, national earnings rising to service debt. Obasanjo ran a government that pursued debt cancellation, and we saw International Monetary Fund, World Bank allowing Nigeria to walk out of the debt we were owing before Obasanjo came on board. So when Obasanjo speaks in that trajectory, I think it's correct. He was a man who has proven that he had disdain for Nigeria as an entity going to debt. We saw it in practical terms, how he managed the situation. You may say Anokoja was in his team, but he was the head. So to that extent, I think Obasanjo is justified to speak in that direction. Now, looking at that, Nigeria is sitting on a keg of gunpowder. It is irrespective of whether Obasanjo had the privilege and opportunity to rule Nigeria more than any other Nigerian. The issue is you cannot throw away the baby with the bathwater. You might say he's not correct in some of his area of his how he handled Nigeria as a person, but look at the message and leave the messenger. Yes, I agree with him. Nigeria is sitting on a keg of gunpowder on many fronts. One, the issue of hunger. Look at how this government tried without success in trying to stop this protest. I may not have the record, I may not have the intel, I may not have the information, but there's speculation out there that the government lobbied with money to see whether they could stop protesters from protesting. Beyond lobbying, We saw the paramilitary agencies, we saw police, we saw DSS, we saw the army coming out to tell Nigerians that they should not come out and protest. I'm telling you, this is a legitimate right of citizens. I'm talking about peaceful protest. At different point in time, police came out to give reason why people should not protest. We saw the army came out, we saw DSS came out. At a point, we saw Obasanjo coming out to ask Nigerians not to protest. We saw Afenifere, a version of it, under leadership of I think Rchy or so, came out to say people should not protest. We saw Arewa Consultative Forum coming out to say people should not protest. We saw some emirs, traditional rulers, even above Bini. So it's going to show that the government lobbied. Even after that level of lobbying, let us even assume money was not involved. Even after that level of lobbying, we saw Nigerians in that number to come out to protest. It tells us something is fundamentally wrong. Nigeria is actually sitting on a keg of gunpowder on that angle. Now, that is on welfare of Nigerians. Do not forget that the constitution is clear about what shall be permanent purpose of governance, welfare of Nigerians and their security. Now, I've spoken on the area of welfare, and the government policy is one that costs this. The government told us, they say, we are getting 4 trillion from subsidy removal on gasoline every year. We are getting another 4 trillion from policy of unification of airfares at the official window. At the end of the year, that is 8 trillion. And the government have told us that this will be used to address the welfare of Nigerians. And as we speak, we are not seeing anything in that regard. Do not forget that the government, when the president addressed Nigerians, I'm talking about Senator Tinubu, told us that they have spent 570 billion to cushion the effect or hardship of their policies on Nigerians. And this money they claim they sent through the states. Sheikh Makinde came out the other day to tell us that the statement from federal government is misleading. That the money is actually from World Bank and that it is in contingent, meaning they have spent that money before, federal World Bank embossing them. And the federal government merely acted as an intermediary. So I'm still telling you that when it comes to welfare of Nigerians, even the money they claim they are spending is not getting to the people, not because the governors may not want it to get to the people this time around, but because the governors are claiming that this money they already spent in the past meant for COVID-19, that the money they now receive is to reimburse, meaning they are taking that money back to where they spent it, meaning the money is not meant for the people to address their concerns. So you see that Nigeria is actually sitting on a keg of gunpowder when it comes to the welfare of Nigerians. Now let us look at security. Security of lives and property is a major issue for any Nigerian if you want to face the truth, you want to face the fact. As we speak, what we normally see in the northern part of the country, insecurity coming from herders against whole communities, is already happening in the southern part of the country. I can categorically tell you with confidence that in Delta State, in a local government called Eka North East, the local government of the immediate past governor of Delta State, I'm talking about Senator Ato Ifeanyi Okowa, is being ravaged by excesses of herders. To the point that some farming communities can no longer access their farm. And this, we have a president that swore to oath to protect lives and property. You have Fulani herdsmen coming far away from the north, and we have a situation where even in the past, the former government of Muhammadu Buhari had alluded to the fact that these are herders who come from other parts of the world. I'm talking about Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and they come into the country. We have a country that is run by law. They move around with AK-47, move around. There are so many stories surrounding their excesses in Delta State that if I say it here, it may be against a YouTube policy. There's no need going into all that. Off camera, I can relate that with you. But what I'm trying to say is the security of life and property is a major issue. I cannot stop saying this. I had a conversation with someone from Benue who said he buy rice, beans, garri, yam from Lagos State and send back to village. What does that tell you?
Very sad.
It's a sad reminder of the problem, the hardship, the situation people are passing through in Benue. Benue is the basket food of the nation. So, in essence, we are sitting on a keg of gunpowder. I totally agree with Obasanjo.
But despite the advice from Obasanjo, in this hardship, Tinubu seems not to yield. Yesterday, Emeka Anyaku approached him and he asked him that Tinubu, I think we need to, as a matter of urgency, constitute a council that will take a look at the constitution. But it seems this constitution needs to be changed for Nigeria to move forward. But Tinubu said that he is not ready, that he wants this our fuel subsidy removal and dollar unification to yield result first before he start looking at the constitution. What's your reaction to that?
I'm not surprised, because if you tinker with the constitution, you are already automatically tinkering with the power of the status quo and with the power and ability of those in power to manipulate the system to get back to power in 2027. I listened to a former senator from Kaduna talking about Shehu Sani, who said the only president in Nigeria that instituted a program, a policy that affected him is Goodluck Jonathan, when he introduced beavers, when he introduced Carida. No, sorry, not beavers, Carida. And Carida was like a game changer that questioned the power to manipulate election by the powers that be. And that saw Jonathan losing the election. So in the same way, I don't see a Tinubu that knows the importance of power, that value power, that cherishes power, to allow a process that will question the ability or the privilege to manipulate the system to say truth. So I don't see Tinubu doing it for now.
So, I mean, let me react to that statement. Are you saying Tinubu will not sign electronic transmission of votes?
I am saying it, and I want Tinubu to prove me wrong. I'm saying that Tinubu will not and will never sign electronic transfer of results that remove the power of discretion from INEC until he is ready to leave office. Do not forget that Muhammadu Buhari, when people were yearning for amendment of the Electoral Act, particularly that area that
even if Nigerians protest,
I don't think protest can solve it. But I want to remind you, Mr. Lee, even when Nigerians were demanding that allow us have electronic transfer of election results, I'm talking about under Muhammadu Buhari, throughout his first tenure, he paid deaf ear to it. He developed his skin. He was not ready to do it, and he didn't do it. It was at the twilight of his administration where he knew he was not going to contest, that he allowed to say true. And at the end of the day, they merely surrendered that power of who on how to transmit the election result to INEC. Look at how INEC messed up with that power of discretion. That's why we are even calling now that INEC is not responsible enough to parade discretionary power when it comes to how to determine the mode of transmission of election result. Because before the election, INEC made us understand that they were going to transmit the election results electronically. They reneged at the nick of time, and of course, that's the basis of which PDP, Labour Party challenged the election result up to Supreme Court. Though, as it stands, Supreme Court already legitimized Tinubu as the president. But in the mind of Nigerians, his presidency is questionable.
Thank you very much for that brilliant submission, Mr. Matthew.
Thank you for having me.